I just gotta say too, they take pickpocketing to a whole new level. They are like magicians in this movie.
They are. There are scenes where you're like, you couldn't have hidden a swipe in there. There's literally like feet apart, and there's no arm's distance that could have accounted for that.
They'll be standing like this far apart, some character, on the walk away. And then
it is magic.
Like, oh my God, they stole my big ass thing from the backpack.
No.
Like how they do that. What's happening, Reject Nation? Greg and John charted their way to the movie theaters over at Cinemark to watch the movie Uncharted. The way to see this movie would be in the theaters with its massive action scenes, especially in the last half of this film. Cinemark, thank you for inviting us, and also you guys can have a private watch party for this movie. When we were coming prior, it was 20 people. Now you can bring up to 30 people, and watching it with our buddies this way, being able to talk amongst ourselves, laugh, me telling them to shut up, stop chewing your food so loud, was perfect. I am the perfect person to go have a private watch party with, as I am abusive to all my family and friends, but you know what? It makes for a better viewing experience in the end. Now let's talk about our feelings for Uncharted. All right, guys, so let's get this out of the way. I played the first 3 Uncharted games. I don't remember them at all. I remember like tiny bits and pieces. So when it comes to, oh my God, did they ruin my beloved video game? I don't know. Maybe. It seems likely, to be totally honest.
The games probably felt a little bit more like an authentic movie, too.
Long story short, with this film, Tom Holland plays Nathan Drake, a young version, a little boy in an old man's body or something is going on here.
It's Benjamin Button. Found treasure.
And he teams up with Mark Wahlberg's Sully to go traverse the world looking for treasure. And it's one of those, you know, swashbuckling Tomb Raider, Mummy, Indiana Jones, spy, wannabe types of films. You know what I'll say? It's like after the first trailer, we were pretty honest about our feelings. I was like, that didn't look too great. But here's the honest to God truth. The movie was better than I expected it to be, but also way more boring than I expected it to be at the same time.
Yeah, it's like it's charmingly bad and endearingly boring.
So let's talk about some positives first. Tom Holland was not bad.
He's very affable. He's enjoyable to watch.
Oh, crap! Oh, crap! There's a lot of those ADR lines that are like, what does Nathan Drake say when he's in the middle of a fight? Oh, crap! Oh, shit! He was really fun.
He's Tom Holland plus parkour and bartending skills.
Like, in all sincerity, it took me a while to really buy him in the role. Not because I was like, is this accurate to the way I remember the video game? It's a very specific type of, like, manly role.
Well, it requires, like, a Harrison Ford type, almost. It requires somebody with that rugged edge who's still charming and fun.
Like Christopher Pratt.
Like Chris Pratt. Exactly. Let's get Owen from Jurassic Park in here. Yeah, Tom Holland has this very clean, everyman, very good-natured type of charm, so it does feel like the movie is very much trying to get him to a point where you're like, no, this dude's edgy.
I did like him in the action. This dude's really doing a lot of his own stunts, and it is great. It's like, I think we always heard that with Spider-Man, to actually be like, that's really Tom Holland moving around like that. That's actually really impressive. Mark Wahlberg, look, he is not anything like Sully from the video game.
You know what he is like is Mark Wahlberg.
He's like Mark Wahlberg, and he does a good job at that Mark Wahlberg impression. He's very, very good as that. And
how do you brother from me?
I think and I think him and Tom Holland, you know, their chemistry kind of flip-flops from time to time. It's just kind of odd in the first half of this movie, I would say. I think in the last half is when it started to really mesh together a lot more. In the first half, I was just kind of like, I should be having fun, but this movie feels a little soulless.
A little flat.
That's probably a more accurate word than soulless. It felt like it was striving for spirit. It just felt like Hollywood screenplay, you know?
Really like a Hollywood
like a
screenplay.
real
Like this has been
perfunctory
sitting around,
yes.
and then somebody finally picked it up and went, hey, can we graft some Uncharted motifs onto this and get some celebrities? And here we go. We've got a property. Let's do it.
A lot of the pacing and a lot of the jokes and just the energy about it, like you said, just feels a little bit flat and unexciting, despite how much globetrotting and exposition of just like a whole
historical details.
My God, just so much of it. I just gotta say too, they take pickpocketing to a whole new level. They are like magicians in this movie.
They are. There are scenes where you're like, you couldn't have hidden a swipe in there. There's literally like feet apart, and there's no arm's distance that could have accounted for that.
They'll be standing like this far apart, some character, and they'll walk away. And then
it is magic.
Like, oh my God, they stole my big ass thing from my backpack. No. Like how they do that.
Yeah, there are a lot of very strange logical decisions about physics and people's ability to pickpocket, the efficacy of electronics in varying difficult weather situations.
Antonio Banderas is wasted and goofy. Here's the thing, though. The last half has some of the most Uncharted vibe that I think you would want in terms of just the actual movie and in terms of the action scenes. Like the action scenes, there's two big set pieces in this film that get just bonkers. They're ridiculous. Everyone in our theater was just laughing. I wasn't. I was happy, genuinely. I was like, I don't care how freaking stupid this is. This is so fun. It got really fun in those moments. And this movie has 2 post-credit scenes. Count it. 2.
They really want that sequel, boy.
Those post-credit scenes felt a little bit more like Uncharted the game than most of the movie.
It's like Mortal Kombat in that sense, where you're like, oh, maybe the sequel will be Uncharted. Yes. The whole movie spends its time building up to these things where you're like, oh, we're finally going to get to something that really resembles Uncharted, and it almost kind of does.
I'm just like, the movie's fine. It's just falls a little flat, full of cliches. It's really nothing special. It doesn't really help with, like, can video games be good adaptations?
Go watch Tomb Raider with Alicia Vikander.
I prefer that one.
I mean, that at least actually kind of resembles what the game is kind of supposed to be like.
But see, like, I barely even remember the Uncharted game, and I'm just watching this movie on its own, and just on its own, it's like, it's fine. That's like the whole vibe I have. Like, it's fine. If this was on TV, I'd be like, it's a little boring, but it's a little entertaining too.
As much as there is to gripe about it, I was always kind of smiling and chuckling for one reason or another. So yeah, it's weird. It's like, I can't really say it's a good movie. You need to go see it, but if you want to have fun, you might, in spite of everything that's actually happening on screen.
I would say that there's a couple of action scenes in here that are worth watching in the theaters alone. I mean that sincerely. But yeah, overall with the ratings, I'd give it like I don't care. Yeah, just, make up your own god. If you're gonna watch it, watch it. All right.
I find it fairly ironic that a video game that borrowed so much from movies and was lauded for being especially cinematic made for a movie that doesn't feel like it bothered to be very like cinematic or borrow from the movies that the game was actually borrowing from itself.
We're gonna have these 2 people who have been watching us this whole time awkwardly, just trying to figure out how to formulate their opinions. No, we just get them on here to switch the mics.
Greg mentioned this film fell a little bit flat on the jokes. I thought this film was unintentionally funny in many moments. Like, there were some serious moments where we were balls out laughing. So, I mean, there were some moments I really enjoyed, but overall...
Balls out laughing.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yes, we were balls out laughing.
My balls fell
yes, exactly.
Laughing because my balls just fell.
Yes, we were. Come to Cinemark, you'll see. That's where balls out laughing happens, at Cinemark. Yeah, this film can sometimes be very mildly entertaining, but in a very unintentionally funny way. Aaron, what did you think?
Had all the testicular fortitude of a 40-year-old man edging to find his freedom and passion again. I like Tom Holland. I like Mark Wahlberg, but I feel like, oh man, this is like the definition of obligatory. I played all the Uncharted games, so I am something of a semi-expert. And yeah, it was not good. It's not
How did you really feel?
It's not horrible. It's perfectly acceptable TNT cable fall asleep kind of movie. This movie it exists, and if you're gonna fall asleep somewhere, do it at Cinemark. They got the best seats.
There you have it, folks.
There you have it. Come here,
go
John.
to Cinemark. Take a nap.
Take a nap. Very comfortable seating. Good air
seats.
Conditioning. They'll turn the volume up real loud. No one will hear you.
They have officially revoked our passes to go watch the Batman.